So Vasyl Lomachenko says after watching Mikey Garcia defeat Adrian Broner, he does not think Mikey Garcia is an A-class fighter, nor was he overly impressed. Is he just hating, or is he really on to something? Let's talk about it, y'all.
Let's go, man. What's up, sports fans? It's your boy Eric, and I'm back here live with you for another episode of the Amazing Eric Sports Show.
You heard it, Amazing Eric Sports Show. And let's talk some boxing today. BoxingScene.com posted an article today. Shout out to Boxing Scene. We'll be placing that article in the description box. They bring the latest and greatest boxing news all the time. #1 website. Shout out to Boxing Scene. WBO super featherweight champion Vasyl Lomachenko said he watched Mikey Garcia's complete domination of Adrian Broner, and he wasn't that impressed. He said that Mikey didn't blow him away. He said Mikey basically was kind of a slow fighter. He said he wasn't that fast. He said he wasn't that impressed, and he said he's not A-class. Now we see this. This is not the first time we've seen this in fighters who are kind of on the other side of the table looking at each other. They don't want to give too many props to the other guy. So I'm not overly surprised by that, but at the same time, there's some things to look at there. Here's the thing about what he said. The first thing that jumps out at me about this is that he said the fight was boring, and he said he almost fell asleep. I think, let me just start right here. If you're a fighter or a trainer or whatever, or you just don't like another fighter, let's come up with something better than we almost fell asleep. Too many people are saying that. We almost fell asleep. That's like the go-to line that people go to. Anyway, I just come up with something new. That's getting kind of old. But Mikey Garcia is the type of fighter that even though he was dominant, I found myself wondering, is Mikey really just this good, or is Broner just really not putting up any effort? But that's what happens with fighters like Mikey Garcia. They are easy to underappreciate. Again, easy to underappreciate. You know, you take fighters like, even thinkers is what I'm speaking of, fighters who think first. You take Floyd. It was so easy to underappreciate what Floyd did when he was in the ring, because he just went in there knocking the spit out of your mouth and blood flying. That's not what he did. You take Andre Ward right now. He's underappreciated because of the way he's methodical and he thinks and he goes. But Mikey brought out a point that I've heard Floyd say, that I've heard Ward say, and now I've heard Mikey say it. They all say the same thing. They say, hey, it looks a certain way when you're on the outside of the ring, but fighters are always surprised once they get inside the ring. And that's what happens with these guys. Guys think they can dominate them. They look at him, they say, oh, he's this, he's slow, he's not this, he doesn't hit hard. Then they get in the ring and they just get shut out. So it leaves me scratching my head with Mikey, because if I'm being real here, I kind of felt like, man, if Broner would just press it, he could actually beat Mikey. That's what I was feeling during the fight. But Mikey was still shutting him down. And you can't hate on Mikey Garcia for his style. This guy is so fundamentally sound. So I can see Lomachenko, I can see him thinking as he watches Mikey, knowing how dynamic he is, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. That's one thing I can see him thinking, but I can also see, if we want to play both sides of the coin here, I can also see Lomachenko thinking, man, Mikey's hard to deal with, so I'm just going to hate on him and act like he's not worth my time. See, because whenever a fighter starts into the, he's not this, he's not that, that kind of can be used as a way to avoid the fighter that you're really trying not to fight. If you really don't want to fight him, you can just kind of say, he's not really all that special. I wasn't blown away by him or anything like that. You can go with that if you really don't want to fight him. That'll be a good way to get out of it. So we don't really know. I always say people make statements and we don't know what's in their heart. We can only analyze the statement and break it down. So as far as what Lomachenko was saying, I can see where he could be hated, but I can also see some logic in what he said too, because I found myself thinking that a little bit. It almost seemed like if Adrian Broner would have just turned it on, because Adrian's the type of fighter that he was just locked up. He wasn't throwing any punches, but Mikey's style could have been causing a non-active fighter to be even more non-active, because Adrian's always non-active, but he was super, his work rate was really bad this fight. Anyway, so we wanted to talk about that. The other thing I want to talk about Mikey real quick on the end, it's something I want to ask you guys. I've been hearing Mikey and I've been hearing Robert, and I really want to know from you guys, what do you think about this? Mikey seems to be feeling himself a little bit. Anybody else think that? Anybody else think Mikey's kind of feeling himself just a little bit? And it's okay to feel yourself. I'm not saying it's bad, because sometimes, you know, you need that bravado. But they're calling out Thurman. They're calling out Terrence Crawford. They're calling out Danny Garcia. You know, they've mentioned Sean Porter. They won't mention Earl Spence. Nobody will. But do you think Mikey might be going it too far? Or do you think Mikey's really going to be able to compete with Crawford, Earl Spence? I mean, not Earl Spence because he won't fight him. Crawford, Garcia, Sean Porter. Do you think he's going to be able to compete with those guys? Or do you think maybe they're just saying it and they're not going to do it? So anyway, jump in the comment section. Tell me what you think, guys. As always, have a good one. Live, laugh, love. Peace, fellas. Woo!